Everyone thinks they need more traffic. The truth is, you don't. You're sitting on more opportunity than you realize. It's just trapped behind a bottleneck. Every funnel has one. Until you fix it, it doesn't matter how many ads you run or how much you spend. We've generated thousands of leads and hundreds of thousands of dollars in net new revenue by doing one thing: finding and fixing the constraint. One new client did it and got 5 new customers in 30 days from a completely fresh ad account. And by the end of this training, you'll know exactly where your funnel is breaking, what number to fix first, and how to double your results without touching or increasing your ad budget. This isn't theory, it's the same process that we've used to generate thousands of leads and turn new ad accounts into profit in weeks, not months. Now, if you don't know me, my name is Isaac Wood, and I've been helping businesses generate more leads with this funnel. Like I said, over the last few months, been helping new clients get 5 new clients in just 1 month of running new ads. And so this is what we ultimately help build. Now, why solving constraints actually matters. Most people chase more. They think they need more leads, they need more ads, they just need to work more, they need to work longer, they need to work harder, but that doesn't necessarily scale. Businesses are machines, and they only move as fast as their slowest part. That's the constraint. Adding volume doesn't add friction, and pouring more leads into a broken funnel just wastes money faster. To give you a real example, a client had hundreds of leads but very few conversions. The bottleneck was their show-up rate. We updated the thank you page, we added more proof, we retargeted them with relevant expert-level video content. We improved their appointment setting process. We had a sales rep reach out, send a manual message, send a video. And in doing so, just fixing that single step added $96K in new revenue in just 30 days with the exact same spend. Now, this is just to illustrate the power of solving for the constraints, right? So if you continue to fix those constraints, the growth of your business will compound over time. So if you solve one leak, everything downstream will improve. And growth becomes exponential, not incremental. And so if you are solving new constraints constantly, that's going to be new progress for you and your business. And each fix will reveal the next. And that's how you scale your business sustainably. So the bottom line here is if you don't fix your bottleneck, you'll keep working harder for the exact same results. But if you do, then every move becomes easier, becomes less expensive, and more profitable. Now, 10 common leverage points that you can find in your business. This is specifically just around your marketing, but the first big thing is just a funnel bottleneck. So one step in your funnel is blocking your growth. Second, ad fatigue. So perhaps your ads have just been running, you haven't been updating them, and they're overused. Your market has seen them too many times, and as a result, your performance is dropping. You have a low average order value. This is simply not making enough per customer. Generic marketing automation. So you might be just following up without any sort of personalization, no relevance within the customer journey where they're actually at. You might have a poor customer experience. So leads or buyers aren't impressed with the sales process or the process once they become a customer, which is the post-purchase process. You're just simply not testing often enough, right? So you're not regularly experimenting. You've set your system up, you put all the work in, and you haven't touched it for weeks, a month, or multiple months, or even in some cases years. And as a result, you just aren't growing. You might be using outdated strategies that worked in 2020, not repeating what works. You might be abandoning winning campaigns, winning ads just too soon and going for shiny new object, just trying something different, a completely new channel when you're abandoning something that is already tried and true and validated. You might have ad messaging that's misaligned with your landing page. And so this inconsistency from the messaging and what the lead thinks they're getting by clicking on your ad and what your landing page actually says if that's not consistent, that could cause substantial drop off and really impact your conversions in a negative way. Then number 10 here, just limited ad variety. So it's similar to what we shared above, but if you only have one or two different hooks and you are only testing two different ad creative, neither of them are going to work. Your campaign's not going to work at all. So, if you have 8 to 10 different angles at a minimum, you're going to have a much more likely chance of having a successful campaign. And so doing so, these are all common leverage points that you might have in your process. Now, I'm going to give an example of how we can actually fix and solve these constraints based on 5 core stages of a funnel. Now, step 1 of this funnel, let's just assume again too that this is in the context of the greater funnel that I shared before. And so, the first step is, how are we getting the lead in? In this case, it's the ad creative, right? So you want to be looking at major metrics like your click-through rate and your cost per click. If your click-through rate is between 1 and 5%, you're generally doing okay. This is signaling to Facebook that people like your ad and your cost is going down or will continue to go down if this is the case. Now, if you have a cost per click that's over $10, then this just simply means you have bad ad creative and you need to rework it. You either just need to fix the messaging, you need to fix your visuals, your graphics, your videos, or you need to rework your offer. You might have a constraint in the second step of this funnel. So in this case, it's a VSL or a form funnel. And so once they've clicked on the ad, they've landed on your page. Now they're going to either take action by filling out your form or engaging with your video sales letter. And your form is going to be qualifying the lead. And a key figure that you're going to be looking at here is the number of people who actually start the form versus your total traffic. And so if this number is too low relative to what your expectation is, then it's simply you don't have a clear enough headline, your offer is not clear enough, you don't have enough social proof, meaning the lead doesn't actually believe you can do what you say you're doing in your offer, or your form just has too much friction. You're not asking the right questions, you're asking too many questions, you're asking questions that indicate that you aren't as experienced as you think you are. Those are all things that you can solve for. Now, if you're using a video sales letter or a VSL, that's going to be a video. That can be anywhere from 1 minute long on the low end, upwards of 12 minutes, upwards of 45 minutes to an hour. It really just depends on your specific market and how direct your offer is. But this is a similar metric that you'll be looking at, which is simply just the number of people who start and engage and watch your video sales letter versus your total traffic. And so if you have low watches, meaning not that many people are actually watching it, then you want to rework your headline, you want to rework your thumbnail, and you'll simply want to improve the information inside of the VSL. Now, if you do get people to watch it, but it quickly drops off, that means that the content inside of the VSL is just not good enough. And so that means you might need a better hook. You might need a more clear offer. You might need to define your process and your deliverables more clearly. You might need to have a better call to action. So those are all challenges that you could potentially be dealing with in this second step of the funnel. Now, step 3 of the funnel, assuming they've taken action. So they've clicked the ad, they've either filled out the form and they're qualified, or they've watched the VSL and they've clicked the book a call button. That next step is most typically, hey, they're going to be booking a call. Now, the benchmark that we're looking for here is around 10%. And so again, this is just a benchmark based on your market and your offer. It could be much higher. It could also be lower than this, but this is a good middle point. And so if this number, if your booking rate number is below the benchmark, in this case 10%, that means that the lead just needs more information, they need more social proof, and they need to be more compelled to take action. Or perhaps you just don't have enough availability on your calendar, right? So if they're not booking that call, then you might need to embed the Calendly on your page. Perhaps it's loading too slowly. You need to speed up your landing page. There's going to be multiple steps underneath each of these to potentially solve for, but these are just going to be the high level challenges that you'll be facing within this funnel. The next one here is your call attended rate, or conversely, your no-show rate. So what we're shooting for at scale is an 80% show up rate. And so that means that out of every 10 meetings that book a meeting with your meeting software, like Calendly, 8 out of 10 should show up to the call. And so if it's below this, if you have 20%, 25%, 20% is okay. If you have 25%, you have 30% or more no-shows, meaning people just don't show up to the call, that means that you need a better pre-call process. So this could be, you need a better pre-call flow. And so it needs to be more value dense. You need to have more emails sent to them with more context on your product, your service, your offer. You need a better thank you page. So once they've actually booked the call, they get sent to a thank you page directing them to next steps, saying, hey, watch this video. Here are some major FAQs. Make sure you accept the invite. Make sure that it's on your calendar. You're going to receive a text from us. Respond to that text. Giving them some action items is going to increase the show up rate by giving them more touch points and just tightening up your pre-call process, right? You might not be doing any sort of retargeting. So you might not have any pre-content, some high value video content that you're either running retargeting campaigns or just sending them those assets either through your automation software or manually through text or through email or even through LinkedIn DMs or Instagram DMs or whatever DMs that you like to use. You should be sending them really value dense video assets. And then ultimately you need proof. They need to believe that you can do what you say you're able to do. So oftentimes screenshots, training videos. When I say screenshots of client results, quotes from clients, videos from clients, Trustpilot reviews, Trustpilot ratings, all that good stuff will help show that you are able to actually deliver on what it is you say you do in your offer. Now, the next step is assuming they've actually shown up to the call. You want to be shooting for a 20% close rate at scale. And so in some cases, it might be 15. In some cases, it would be 25. But again, benchmark here. And so if your number is below this, you'll want to understand, are these leads actually qualified? And if they are qualified, okay, good. Now let's understand the actual sales process. So how is your script? Review your sales calls. See the main objections that you are getting or your sales team is getting on those sales calls. Build content around those main objections, pre-handle the objections, and build your sales presentation in a way that, again, preempts their biggest objections. And you also want to just improve your closing. So make sure that you're asking for the close, ask for the close multiple times, and perhaps you have a 2-call close. In many cases, it will require a follow-up call to actually get the deal across the line. And if that's the case, then make sure you're booking that next stage while you're on the first stage. So if you have a call, if you're in person, you have a meeting at a physical location, while you're there and you've agreed to a next step, make sure that you're actually booking that in and saying, hey, we're going to meet again on this date at this time. Bearing an act of God, you're going to be able to make it, right? Yes. Okay, great. And so if you're able to do that, then that's going to help improve your close rate. Now, in summary, right? So this is how you look at your funnel. If you're running an ad funnel that is using either a form or a VSL, and you want to look at your ad creative, you want to make sure that your form or your VSL is converting at the right rate. You want to look at your call booked step, your call attended step, and your close rate step. Now, in every funnel, there will be a bottleneck for the most part. If none exists and you're just crushing, you're still going to have a high leverage action. And so the goal here is to find that highest leverage action, just continuing to attack the high leverage, because the faster you find it, the faster you can scale. And so if you're doing something that's at the top of the funnel that will double your traffic, your downstream closes will ultimately double, right? But if you're already getting the most people who are coming through your funnel and they're not converting on your form, perhaps you need to update your form to double your conversions there, and so on and so forth down the actual pipeline, right? So here's an action plan that you can literally use to identify and solve for your highest leverage bottlenecks. So the way that I will always do this is you want to list the key conversion metrics across your ad funnel. And this is what we had just looked at up there, right? So you have your ads, you have your landing pages, and to dig in a little bit further, you have email nurture, you have your follow-up sequences, you might be looking at your total ad spend or just your general sales performance. And so you want to look at all your numbers. How are you actually performing on a very specific scale? You need to understand that, you know, your meeting booking rate is 10.2%, not, oh, it's around 10%. You know, you want to know those metrics with concrete specificity. And why this is so important is because this is going to allow you to select the highest leverage metric. And so the way that you want to look at this is you review your data and you ask which of these is the easiest metric to double. That's going to be your bottleneck, right? So again, you know, it could be the ads. You might need to, you can double your click rate. Perhaps your click rate's already doing okay. It's kind of in the benchmark. Then, like I said, you want to look at your landing page, your VSL, your form. From there, you want to look at your actual meeting booking, your appointment setting, your qualification, and your sales process. Each step of the way, that's going to be a decision point for you to solve for that bottleneck. And again, right, you're looking deeper. Every bottleneck has layers of supporting data you can fix. And your job in terms of solving for the easiest metric to double is you want to identify the lowest hanging fruit. And so what is the smallest change that you can make that will unlock the biggest gain, right? So again, going back to the example, if your ad click-through rate is looking good and your users, your leads are bouncing off of your page, a very simple thing that you can change is updating your headline. Now, if your headline is completely missing the mark, then that's going to cause a huge amount of people to bounce. And so if you're able to fix that, you know, fixing a headline is much less difficult than filming, writing and scripting and filming and editing a bunch of video ads, right? So if you can make that one change, that could cause a huge downstream impact in terms of just getting some more conversions, then you want to start with that first. And so once you've decided on that lowest hanging fruit action, then you want to take the action. And so you select it, and this becomes your test variable. So in any sort of scientific test, you have constants and you have variables, right? So you want to make sure that you're only changing one variable throughout the test, because that will allow you a more direct relationship between the change. So if you made a change, you added a bunch of new ad creative and your click-through rate goes through the roof, great, you knew that that was the solve. But if you changed your ad creative and you changed your headline, and the downstream effect is you have lower conversions, then it could be the headline, which is the thing that messed it up, or it could be the ad creative, so you don't actually know. So choose one action that's going to fix that bottleneck. Then you want to apply the 72-hour rule. And so this rule is simply make the change and be patient for 72 hours. Just wait. 72 hours. Let that change materialize through the system. And then you want to reassess your performance. You want to look back. How did everything change as a result? If the test succeeds or it gets your intended result gets better, then you want to repeat the process and just find the next highest leverage bottleneck and then solve for that, right? If that test fails, then you want to revert to the previous process, wait 72 hours, stabilize it, and then go through the process again, right? And so if you're thinking about this over a 30-day time horizon and you're doing it every 72 hours or every 3 days, you'll have 10 high leverage tasks that you'll be able to complete over a period of about a month. And so these are the steps that you want to take as a business owner, as a marketer, as a go-to-market focused leader in solving for your highest leverage bottleneck to unlock the most growth in your business. Now, I hope this was valuable for you. If you want me to actually solve this for you, then book a meeting with me. Go to the link in the description below and we'll chat live and I'll see if I can help you out. Otherwise, hope you found some value in this. I'll chat with you in the next one.